Well, here we are again, and maybe a familiar face from a past podcast. How was NAPE for you?
It was great. I got my steps in, super fun. It's always a great time getting to reconnect with folks and pretend like we're young and
That's exactly right.
make bad life choices, and hopefully they're not too terrible.
I mean, I think that's what NAPE is every year,
Yeah,
right? We come in and we see exactly how few poor life choices we can make, how many happy hours we can hit, how many old friends we can reconnect with. And it's a fun week. Do you feel like this one was more energy and maybe better attended than ones in the past like few years?
Yeah, I'd say it's kind of a mixed bag, because it seems like there are a lot more kind of just general vibe. People are happier or positive or optimistic, maybe.
Right.
And I'm sure that, I don't know if you look at the data, what the mix of attendees and what the mix of sponsors and exhibitors
Right.
about it. But, generally speaking, the vibe is great. And everyone, I think, is excited about all they're doing. Everybody I ask, like, oh, how are things? Busy. Everybody says they're busy. So there's not a lot of people, it seems like, they're looking for work or, concerned, or those kind of like macro level.
Right. No, I did hear I did hear a few people that were talking about that they were looking, because of the mergers and everything that have gone on. There were a lot of people that were here specifically with the intent of, they were like, hey, I know my position is I might be retained for a while, but it's going to go away in March or something like that. They were like, I'm using the connections.
That's
and
great.
Like what we talked about whenever you were on the podcast, we talked about networking, and our connections are absolutely key. And I think this is one of those places where Jairus and I talked earlier on this, and I was like, this was the one that I probably enjoyed the most, of seeing so many people. And it was walking down the street, and even one of my buddies, Muhammad Salama, if you're watching, like, I heard you honk. And he was honking at an intersection, and I just hear, Drew!
Yeah.
And
I love it.
It's stuff like that like absolutely like warms my heart. I love the industry. I love the people that are a part of it. We've worked with Oil and Gas Global Network over the last couple of days, did a podcast with them. We've been able to go out and meet. Like a huge thanks to the NAPE group for giving us this booth this year. That means so much, and that helps spread the word, not only about this, but that helps bring that relationship and camaraderie between the business and just the entire organization. And we're just really having a good. It's been a heck of a time for sure.
It's so much fun, and I think what most people don't recognize, if you've never been to these events, and I totally understand the people who don't come, because it is an investment.
It is. No, it totally is.
Because if you're going to get a hotel room and you're going to travel here and pay for the admission and all the things, but I was talking with some people about this, like, these are the investments in your personal brand and your future network and your opportunities that you don't know what the ROI is going to be.
That's right.
You can't just look at it as, well, I can't come out of pocket, $1,000 to come down there and, do that. Do these things. I don't know when I'll get that money back. It's like, yeah, but then if you lose your job and you've met somebody, or if you're looking to expand, or you're having to relocate to take care of a family member to an area.
Right.
Hey, now I know somebody that's in that part of the world that can maybe help me, or whatever the story is. Like, you have no idea that interconnection, long-term payoff.
No, and that is such an important thing to think about. And we talk about like the groups that are starting up, like in oil and gas, like starting up from scratch, going in, maybe they're going to try to drill a couple wells, and they look at this as an opportunity to be able to find some interest, start out maybe with some non-op stuff, or be able to combine with somebody else to like actually have some drilling activity. And this is, like you said, this is an investment, and you will put down money, but how is that investment going to pay off? And I say, by the people that you meet, by the exposure that your company gets here, it is absolutely imperative that you do it every once in a while. Maybe it's not every year, maybe it's every other year, but to see this many thousands of people come in and they are just kind of ravenous to find these different deals and excited about where energy is right now.
Yeah.
Right?
And we have, with our business, the way we've transitioned a lot of what we do, it's a great opportunity for us to go meet and get contact information for people at these operators.
That's right.
Because there's turnover and people retire and people get consolidated down, or they move out, and it's like, well, I don't know who to contact at XYZ oil company. And like, well, they have a booth. And so now I can go and look, and hopefully I can meet that person, and I can get the business card, and I can have an email and not just go to ownerrelations@xyzcompany.com, right? Or whatever. That connection is so critical.
You're spot on. And that really is like, for anybody, I don't want to like go too far down the hole of being like, oh, if you're in sales, if you've got a product, if you've got something like that, I don't want to say this is absolutely for you, but think of the cold emails that you send out, or the LinkedIn of where you're like, hey, I just connected with you on LinkedIn. Haven't talked to your company before, but boy, it'd be great if we could meet and I could show you a demo of something. No, scratch that. Here, you are able to walk directly up to these companies, and you've got them face to face of saying, this is what we do. This is what I know your company does, and this is how we can help you. And I bet you dimes the donuts how many of those conversations spur into, well, hey, man, here's my business card. Like, we'd love to talk. And the operators, I know for a fact, love that. They don't want to get slammed by sales stuff, obviously, but they love whenever they are now connected with something that is an actual person. And they get to know you a little bit better. And that's relationships built business in the oil and gas industry more than any. I feel that people want to work with those good people they trust. And if you can meet people here, you can definitely find groups that you can trust and really build long-term relationships.
100%. And one of the other things I really love about having come to NAPE is, and I've got so many crazy war stories over the years from doing this, but like, you get exposed to somebody doing something that you're like, oh, I've never thought of that. Never heard of that. And that's interesting. And I'll tell one quick story of that. So way back when they used to have the separate international section. You would go, and it was always engineers from other countries, right? So there's already like a cultural and language difference.
A little barrier there.
That's right. A little bit of opportunity, right?
That's right.
Yeah. And also they're engineers. So, those nerds don't like talking to people in the same way landmen do, right? And so they expect you to like have all this technical knowledge. I'm like, buddy, I
don't have it.
I don't know any of this stuff. I'm just cool. I'm just meeting people. Thank you for coming, kind of a thing. And I went to and each country has their own booth or whatever. Right. And the group that was there, I guess it'd be Denmark, that was representing Greenland.
Wow.
They were trying to promote development.
Right.
And I was talking to them, and I learned that at the time, what they did was, instead of just having a bid process that is, all right, Shell bids, $5,000 an acre, and Exxon bids $55 an acre or whatever. It was Shell is going to bid 300 miles of all-weather power line.
Interesting.
And Exxon's going to bid 50 miles of all-weather road. And this group is going to, and it's infrastructure, because where the port was relative to where the anticipated development was geographically hard to get to.
And these were the things they need.
And these were the things.
This was going to help.
And so they said, look, you're going to get a 5-year lease or a 10-year lease. And so I thought it was so smart and creative from a landman concept, because each time somebody passes on that, they bid and they do that infrastructure, and then they decide not to develop it, then that makes it slightly more economic the next time.
That's right.
Because, well, now we already have 50 miles of road. And then the next guy's like, we don't want road. We want power. Oh, we want all-weather this, or we want this infrastructure.
That's
instead of just being cash that gets dumped into the kitty for the government. I was like, that is brilliant.
That's landman negotiation 101 right there. That's good stuff.
I don't want to take credit for it, but I will heavily imply that. Just with that tone.
That is fantastic.
I specifically said I'm not going to take credit.
You are absolutely. Jimmy Wright is not taking credit for this, but I mean, if you want to send him an email or send him any kudos, he will accept those. He'll save.
I work on compliments.
Well, let me ask you this. So the craziness of NAPE, and it is so much that goes on in the conference room. There's so many different things. There's blue blazers. I'm wearing my black blazer today just because this is how I am feeling. It was a long happy hour night last night. One of the things that I definitely wanted to talk about, and I'm going to lose some friends here. I want to preface that. I will lose a couple friends, but I wanted to go over. Do you have any happy hours that you really enjoyed?
Yeah.
Have any places that you maybe hadn't been to before? Give me your happy hour rundown, and then I want to run down some of the ones that I went to.
Okay, so I am a very much a fun-loving person who is also like in that curmudgeon stage of life.
Gotcha. No, understood.
I think I'm more youthful than I actually am, and
I am 21. Damn it.
Yeah.
And I will be 21 for the next.
That's right.
Until the liver goes out, which is very soon.
Right.
Which is very soon.
Yeah. So we I went to a handful of different events.
Okay.
Totally misfired on. I thought I had 2 events at the same time, but one of them was on a Wednesday night, and I missed it, and I totally didn't even go to it.
Makes sense.
Kind of thing. We literally went to an event last night that was at Hearsay.
Hearsay.
And I think Aventive was the host. Thank you very much to you guys hosting those things. We got there. It was like just packed, people spilling out. We're like, okay, you got to go in. And I walk in the room, walk in the door, and it is so packed full of people and so loud. And I didn't know anybody there specifically I was going to meet.
Right.
And so I walked in with our business partners who were there, and it was super loud. And I turned around and was like, hey, do you guys want to stay here? And they're like, no. So we just like turned around and walked out and left. Like, that was not our vibe, because it's like,
you got
yelling at people and trying to make connections in that environment. It's like, that's not gonna, we're going to be unhappy. It's going to be hot. We're going to be crowded. We've been on our feet all day.
Shoulder to shoulder doesn't do it for me.
It's like, we got to
I gotcha.
know yourself of what you're looking for, what you're wanting, not just the FOMO.
So what's the happy hour that you are looking for? Like, what do you like?
Yeah, so the one we went to that I always recommend, it's a good time, Kirby, Matthews, and Waldreth. They host a happy hour, and it's it's well attended. There's tons of people there, but the music's a little bit quieter.
Nice.
Talk to people. So that's kind of more my scene.
I like it.
Seating. So you can sit down, like it's like the old man.
Sit down. I need it.
Is there a way we can just sit down and have like Alka-Seltzer and ibuprofen and hand sanitizer?
I always feel like for a certain age group, which I'm definitely in at this point in my life, in Vegas, whenever you're sitting at like a table game, and at like 2 or 3 in the morning, they've got the ladies that are coming around and they're like massage, and they'll do the back massage.
Yes.
I'm like, I feel like at NAPE, if somebody was going around and they're like, listen, you've been on your feet all day, you are 3 or 4 whiskeys in at this point, and that's at the minimum. That's like the 10 o'clock in the morning crowd.
Yeah.
Like, I think that shoulder massage would get me through that extra happy hour,
And I'll say, independent of just the happy hours, coming and just being at the different, like, okay, I'm going to be at the Hilton Bar, I'm going to go to the Four Seasons, I'm going to go do
I've got those down here.
Different things. And I enjoy going to the breakfast that is put on a Thursday morning.
Was that a second floor of the Hilton?
Yes.
And who was that? Because I went to that too.
I'm pretty sure it's Thompson Knight was the term, I think.
I want to make sure that.
Sorry if it's not them.
And yeah, definitely
credit to them. If not, then
hopefully somebody watches this and they can correct us if we're wrong on that. But I went to that too, and I really enjoyed it, and it was great talking to people. So
meet people that are, again, the guy we sat next to, he's a operator who is really just operates for the Bitcoin mining. So he's like this hybrid of,
that's cool.
He operates his own stuff. It's not like we take your flare gas and we will mine Bitcoin with it. Like, he bought production for the sole purpose of using the gas to create a Bitcoin mining operation. He's a vertically integrated Bitcoin miner utilizing the gas that he bought.
I met some people, renewables, like Renua Energy, Nextera, like a few of them I hadn't got to talk to before. Very interesting conversations. That's what I like, because I'm like, there's so much that I don't know, and I'm happy at this point in my life to just zip the lip and just listen and hear these different things. And then that makes me a little bit more effective whenever I'm telling somebody else about what I learned from, like all across the board. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Absolutely. And being able to, like, one of the guys I met with he's a banker, from Regions Bank, and he's in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Nice.
There is zero chance I would ever interact with that person and meet that person.
Right.
And I learned what kind of, from a banking standpoint, what they're looking for, what their metrics are, what they're wanting, what they're trying to connect with, and who their market is. And I'm like, oh, well, I know some people that are like that, so let me introduce you to them and connect those people. And
that's right.
Again, those are the kinds of things. It's like, I didn't come here expecting, like, I need to be at a bank. You know what I mean? But like,
you're making the connections.
It's fell there, and it's like, okay, cool. If somebody's like, oh, we're needing some middle range capital, and we got this kind of a thing. It's like, oh, well, I don't know if they'll be any good or not, but here's the person.
Here's the contact.
To do it. So.
That's right.